A very warm evening to everyone who have joined this wonderful evening. And thanks to Suman for taking your time out this evening and joining our wonderful webinar. So, to just give you a brief about who Suman is, he's currently the head of engineering at Sony. He is also an accomplished engineering leader with extensive experience in driving successful large engineering initiatives across different industries. He is currently serving as the head of engineering at Sony with previous experience as the director of engineering at Paytm, where he led the lending vertical that focused on platform engineering, big data processing, API development. His expertise includes improving time to market, fostering a cultural engineering excellence, and integrating third party systems. Previously, as a senior engineering manager at Tesco, Suman spearheaded the store order legacy transformation, resulting in revenue growth and faster bug free product delivery. He also managed cross functional global teams at Expedia, where he contributed to building an omni channel platform that significantly enhanced customer engagement and reduced support calls. Suman's experience spans across various roles, including Amazon, Samsung, Wipro, where he led innovations at IP management, network systems, and product engineering. His skills include platform architecture, reliability engineering, strategic leadership, and team management with a strong emphasis on agile development, non-functional requirements, and problem solving. His tech acumen combined with his leadership and process-driven mindset positions him as an expert in building scale, high-performance systems and delivering impactful business solutions. A very warm welcome once again, Suman. So just to ask you the generic question that we generally ask for any leader. So can you briefly explain about your journey so far, right from the education, the previous experience, what made you choose this current field you're currently in?
Thanks for the wonderful introduction first, and it's my honor and being pleasure being here, right, with this audience. To begin with, I'm an MCA. I completed BCA and MCA overall. 6 years of study in computer application, but my journey started from my graduation days, where I started with a takeoff journey, right, and then once I completed my master's through the campus interview, I came to Wipro, and from there the actual IT industry journey started. So over this entire journey, this period, I've been fortunate enough to gaining experience across different domains and working the market leaders of each domain. Right, the domain consists of telecommunication, e-commerce, followed by your networking domain or the core manufacturing domain, your travel industry, retail, fintech, and also the OTT domain altogether, right? And names are like Samsung, Amazon, Expedia, Tesco, Paytm, and currently into Sony. So that's the overall journey, and throughout this journey, it's definitely not a smooth or always success. There is a fall, there is a up, pretty much the ups and down. And when I look back, I believe and I found that okay, it's a wonderful roller coaster ride, and this gives me the elevation. Touch wood. So it is like where I am today because of that, right? So I'm really grateful and also enjoying this journey altogether. Yes, so this is my overall journey in very short.
Got it, got it. And what challenges do you think engineering leaders like you are facing in today's fast-paced tech environment, and how do you navigate them?
There are multiple, but there are things like good and bad together, right? That engineering landscape is changing so rapidly. So you have to be really very strategic and long-term thinking and planning that, okay, that lasting. So what you are going to build, and by the time it will start taking a shape, it should be relevant for another at least 5 years. Earlier people talks about 10 years, 20 years, but now span what we are looking for another 5 years, it should last. It should not get decomposed or rapid change in architecture or shift to the different tech stack in another 1 or 2 years, right? So that is the challenging part, to choose that right set of technology, so that even though the newer version or the newer solution is coming, you still able to solve that particular purpose. So that is one of the challenge in terms of the technical landscape, being into the technical leadership. On top of that, uh, team building or the hiring, and keeping them directed on the motivation towards the goal is also a challenge. In the era of information floating, where everybody has access to everything, it's very easy for an individual being a tech enthusiastic, they are got distracted. Distraction is very common unknowingly. So as individuals are very interested and enthusiastic about technology, often I have seen many of the developers, they tried to get hold on to series of technology, and each one of them, right, running against time, that every single week there is a new version, new updates. It is not sustainable for a person to get up to date on everything. That leads to a frustration, that leads to a lower confidence, right? So this ultimately leads to a problem. So in different set of conferences and talk and mentorship, I get this kind of frequent question: how do I cope up with? What is your suggestion that this thing is changing, that thing is changing, which one should I pick up and all? So that is a genuine problem today in the industry, right? So yeah, these are the challenges.
And in continuation to that, so when I talk about the automation and the AI space that we are currently in, right from the onset of ChatGPT, the AI business rapidly boomed everywhere, and the current tech industry is moving quickly towards the automation and AI space. How do you see these advancements shaping the future of engineering and management?
Well, I have a slightly different opinion and thought process over here. I am not seeing that industry is moving towards AI. Rather, I am seeing that AI is coming into the industry space and taking it forward, right? So it's a different angle of seeing it, and I am into that bucket, right, where very few people are seeing into this way. I am taking AI as a leverage. So on the other day, there is an AI enthusiastic interviews being conducted, right? So I was talking the similar thing. In fact, the similar thing I talked during the Futurense Leadership Council meet altogether, right? So we are looking it as a AI is an option to serve us better. As far as the concern or the question is that, okay, how these things are taking the shape, uh, AI has already proven the efficacy or the higher efficiency and boundaries, pushing the boundaries toward the creative sector. Whereas the fashion design, graphics design, and all, video, and all. So everywhere AI did a better job than the humankind have done in last 1 decade. There is always a debate that, okay, what about that hardcore handcrafted thing versus that, okay, you get it from machine. So that is the elite class discussion, that is not the way. But while you are looking for the mass production, definitely AI has a greater edge. While it is coming to the project management and all, right, so not so organized way, but unorganized way, every single individual is adapting to this, right, to delegate the tedious task to AI. If you see most of the LinkedIn post, content generation, emails, reply, and few other stuff. If you are a regular user of AI, you can easily figure it out that most of the content today being posted on social media or being generated or used in projects is generated by AI. You give some prompt and some context, and AI is giving it to you, and you are posting it, right? So that's how it's already there in an unorganized manner, but it's just a matter of time that things will be much more organized with the social acceptance. Currently, the social acceptance is not there, but it will come.
Understood. That's a nice perspective to it.
Mm.
So I would say currently at this position, you have been handling a lot of teams under you, right? So how do you ensure this continuous innovation within your teams is maintained, and the stability is also maintained in the day-to-day operations? Like, what do you ensure that they are continuously learning or innovated within your teams?
So it's just a multifolded question, right? So you talked about continuous learning, continuous innovation. These are the two things, and these two are the different things. I lead and I promote the continuous learning, which leads towards the continuous innovation. And I don't push for the innovation, but we talk about the problem. And as you know, that limitation of the problem is mother of invention. No matter in which domain I am, currently it's in OTT domain, previously it is fintech, previous to that it was retail domain, right? So every single domain has evolving problem statement. As a leader, I being a part of the enabler, I take myself as an enabler or the linchpin leadership what I follow, right, where I encourage people to learn and I give them the space and autonomy to do that. And while you have a space and autonomy for your learning, we being the human, we are the emotional creature, we are not the intelligent by default. People talked that okay, we are intelligent creature and all, but actually we are the emotional creature. So while we are emotional and we are seeing the problem, we will try to solve it by default. It's a matter of skill set and the learning, which being a leader I am already enabling to this, which leads towards those kind of innovation, right? That ideation, idea generation, talking about that okay, can we do this, can we do that. Few of the things like hosting the hackathon, hosting or bringing the competitive healthy competition culture, talking about the AI, talking about the AI adoption. Now AI is very vague word nowadays, it's been misused also, but predominantly we do machine learning. That is the right word, right? Machine learning, modeling, ML ops, pipeline and all. So through this we are solving most of the problem. While it is coming to AI, right, there is a joke that fastest thing on the earth or the universe, right, which is faster than the light, is that people become expert on AI, right? So that's why I took a stand and I am very loud on it that I'm not going to claim that I'm an expert on AI developer, but I'm AI enthusiastic and I am an expert of AI application. But yes, I'm expert on email development. I know how the machine learning works and all. So the right word is that okay, through the machine learning and different set of algorithm, we are able to solve most of the problem, right? There are few cases where it is goes towards the AI model, but it is a very, I would say, baby step towards the ML world, right? So we barely scratch the surface as an industry. There are long ways to go.
Got it. Got it. And also, how important is cross-functional collaboration for driving success, and what strategies do you generally use or foster to it?
There is no debate that it is important. The reason being, if you looked at from the individual contributor perspective, right, and that's how ownership is coming into the picture, right? So if you look from the individual perspective, you can claim that you have wrote a code which is empowering a module and all, and it is done. But if you looked at being a leader or being an owner of a business, it's all about whether your contributions solve the customer problem or not, right? So what we do, no matter in which team you are in, day in and day out, whether you are a ML developer, data scientist, AI enthusiastic or AI developer, let's say, front end, back end, no matter, DBA. Your job is not to write the code. Your job is to solve the problem, solve the customer problem, solve the business problem altogether. You cannot do it by doing only your local stuff, right? So there is no debate that, okay, if there is a problem, you did a fix that needs to flow through your database, application, front end, ML ops pipeline as per the relevancy, right? From the release, support, and all together. Now, if you see, I talked about 5 different team. I talked about 5 different functional. These things are working together to solve any of the business problem, product development, what we often refer. So that's how it is very important. I would say it is not the only important, it is essential and inevitable to get into the cross-functional collaboration towards the problem solving of the customer, and that's how we generate the revenue. Clearest way we can articulate the importance of cross-functional collaboration.
Got it. Understood. And how does a strong product engineering alignment contribute to the overall success of it?
Okay, so first of all, we need to understand what is the product engineering means. All right. So if you look from the product side of it, the term product engineering is nowadays very popular because we are okay. So but let me take a step back and explain you. So if you looked at the product, it always talk about, okay, I want this feature, that feature, xyz feature to be available, business values and all. What it lacks, that how part it, how you are going to solve it, what sort of technology stack is solving and all. Now why it is important, if you are not choosing the right set of technology, right, you initially kick off, but you will get stuck in scalability, extendability, and furthermore sustainability. So you cannot actually make a sustainable revenue generation funnel out of it from your product. Now to do that, engineering is the better one, who the group of member who knows it, that okay, what is the right set of things to pick up. On the flip side, if you talk from the engineering perspective, they are enthusiastic. So they will talk about technology stack, they will talk about innovation and all, and product is completely overlooked. They will not look at the business gain, they will talk about the engineering, because it's like satisfaction being a developer. I am working on a cutting edge technology, right? I'm working in Redis, Mongo, latest version, and all those things. Now, product engineering is the idea that okay, both the things are combined. Product members have a decent understanding, decent, not the depth, how, what set of engineering we need. Engineering members are being empowered, what they are going to deliver and how it is contributing towards the business for the motivation factor. Once both the things comes together, it's the product engineering. That's how most of the companies are leading. It's called product engineering. Nowadays, you will see at the leadership level, we talked about CPTO. 3 years back or 5 years back, there is no such idea that, okay, this is designation, right? Either there is a CPO or CTO. Now people realize that, okay, the business cannot run by one single thing, right? Only technology, only product cannot innovate. A person should understand both and they should appreciate both the things. So while you are talking about the product engineering, I think CPTO role at the highest level is the classic example that how both the things are coming together. And this is the way that product and engineering can go in hand to hand, where through the engineering excellent business can be delivered.
Got
Yeah.
it. Got it. And as tech solutions are becoming a lot more data driven nowadays, how important is it for the engineers to have a strong understanding of data science and AI skills?
Well, as I told that it's been a decade that okay, we are in data science. Before that, it was a phase where everybody talks about big data. Now it is a data science, right? And then we are in an early adaptation phase for AI and all those. It is really important, but I would not say that it is needed or mandatory for all, right? So it's a new section, or the stream is coming into the picture to make you understand the game, right? I mean, if we talk about futuristic, probably you cannot relate it, but if you looked at the history, things would be much more reference and you can get it clear. So when big data came in India, right, you have seen that everybody talks about big data. Now if you see, look back and see that big data being a stream, it is not the entire industry's big data, because only big data cannot make you success in the business. You still need application developer, you need DBA, front end developer, and all those things. So I'm looking at then data engineers as separate stream. Whoever have the passion and the interest towards it, they should opt for it. It is not that everybody has to go into that line, because in upcoming decades, I mean, for my visibility, right, at least for the next decade, application development, productionizations, SRE, DevOps, all those things are going to serve. These are the new field which is coming up for our betterment of the development or betterment of the business. So yes, it is a new one, it's an interesting one, it has its own value, it is going to accelerate the our life, our development, exciting things, but not really necessary that 100 out of 100 people have to go there. We have a demand of application development, classic development, all those things. This is the one.
Got it. And we have a lot of young engineers joined in the current webinar, enrolled across different set of programs with the domains of data science, data engineering, and cybersecurity. There are different set of widespread programs that they're enrolled in, the executive education or undergrad programs, etc. Everyone, have a very common question. So, what kind of advice would you give to someone looking to transition from a hands-on technical role to a leadership position in technology?
So there is few things I would say, right? That while from hands-on to leadership, I really looked into as a complete shift in leadership position also, until or unless you become that kind of MD or the only the business person. Till the time you are a technical leader, you can be direct manager, senior manager, director, VP, or even CTO. So until or unless there is a technical tag with you, you should have a sound knowledge on technology and the current trend. But the landscape of this one, right, the much higher position you are going, you should have a bird eye view more than the grassroots level what is going on. So that is very essential. You cannot, or you must not go completely out of technology. Then you cannot contribute to your role, because this is the role what is demanding. That earlier days only meeting wala manager, right? So those days are gone. Additionally, while you are into this kind of role, you always realize the very first hand, being a manager also, right? That is the first step. You cannot contribute or you cannot do things by your own. That is not just possible. I mean, you cannot single-handedly deliver a project. You forgot about a charter. So you have to ensure that, okay, people are listening to you. People are actually aligned with your vision and goal. Now, also in today, we are not in an era that while people are working with you for a fear. Yes, there are some recession and job insecurities there, so people will stick for some time. But actually, these are not the days where while manager is coming or walking in, people will stand up, say good morning sir, good evening sir, and all those things. So those are like 10 years back. Entire landscape been changed for a good reason, towards progressive mindset. So you have to really understand that, okay, how to engage people with you, how to motivate them, how you are going to align with them rather than they are going to align with you. So you have to be very people person for say, so that people are coming along with you, they really understand what is the benefit, what is the vision out of it, and they by themselves started contributing to the common goal or the common vision, right? It is sounds very easy, but it is much more difficult, because human are the most critical and difficult engine on the planet, right? It's the most critical engine. So it is very difficult to deal with human, right? So you have to be a people person, followed by you should have this technical skill.
And what are some of the common mistakes that young engineers tend to make in their early careers, and how can they avoid them?
Well, I took that learning, right, from my mistakes and from my colleagues and upcoming people who are doing this, like by seeing them. There are there are two school of thought. There are few person who thought that I will get into expertise, or they will look for everything to be green and then take the next action, and they are going to wait for a decade. By the time they will reach to that, that is getting obsoleted and they cannot cope up with the new thing. And I have plenty of example I have seen in my, I mean, in front of. So that mistake should be avoided. You cannot be 100%, or you cannot have a green path always, or you cannot have a all green signal. You have to start the journey with the first green signal and let's see where the path goes. Contradictory to this, there is another school of thought where there is a little bit of aggression, which is for good reason or for the good, but while it is getting over, right? So people try people often underestimate the experience. Like they think that, okay, I know cutting edge technology, so I know everything. Seniors are like just dumb, they don't know anything, or they cannot understand this, right? So that is another mistake, right? So you have to balance it, how you are going towards it. So this is the another part. And the other thing I already talked about, okay, people started to jump into some places where it's become unsustainable, that they tried to follow 5 6 or 10 different technology, tried to put everything on resume, and for a sake they tried to be top of everything, which leads them nowhere, right? So you have to be very particular that, okay, what you wanted to do, what is the risk and rewards associated with it, and you have to be in a space with this, that, okay, you should not sit back and wait for the right opportunity. At the same point in time, right, you should understand that, okay, who are all leaders or senior or whatsoever in this matter, right? They are in that, I mean, if you're calling them senior, they are senior for a reason, right? So this is the mindset. I think if this comes with maturity, no matter if somebody is listening today, I don't know, maybe they understand it, but practically breathe in that or practically live in that, it will take time. right? It's a matter of realization. Myself did that kind of mistakes, and from my mistakes I learned it, and I'm not shameful to call out about it, right? I'm a human being. I was being a developer, right? I was being a like fresher sometime. I did all these mistakes and I learned from my mistake. I learned from others mistakes too. Until or unless you realize the mistake and take the learning from there, that's good.
And what strategies would you recommend for staying updated about these new technologies and trends?
I can talk what I follow, right? I go to different socialization in different way, right? Conferences, then blog. I subscribe to multiple blogs. So those blogs are keep on coming to my email box and all. And I go of a like flow of the reading, flow of the listening, what people are talking and all. And I keep taking the keywords, what is going on, like, right? Few years back NFT is one of the discussion topic. Nowadays, after that it came AR and VR, right? Now it is more of the vector DB is booming in, right? Then definitely AI, machine learning, all those things. So I keep and in this like RAG nowadays, so generative platform, multiple things, I mean it can go on. So I keep on taking the keywords and then I study about it, right? I don't stick to any of the particular that okay these are my 10 technology and I wanted to keep up on every single technology. I don't do that, but I choose this that okay what is the current trend and keep on learning those things. And being into leadership, so you should have a wide range of understanding what is going on, but you should have a mastery on certain things. So I have the expertise and depth knowledge of backend engineering, platformization, ML ops, right? So these are my core skills. With this, the leadership skills and all other stuff. So you have to be master in one particular area, and at the same time, you have to widespread your overall knowledge. So this is called. So there is multiple shape. I mean, if of the learning, right? One is the V shape, another is the T shape, right? So I follow the T shape learning model.
Got it. And what would you say is the best way to approach problem solving and critical thinking in high pressure engineering environments?
You cannot you cannot as simple as that, right? So if it is high pressure, I mean unnecessarily pressure is there, you have to prove yourself, somebody's micromanaging and all. My suggestion is just get out of that place, right? So if you remember just I think almost in half an hour back I talked about it. If you foster a culture, I mean if you wanted to foster a culture being a leader that innovation, right, and competitiveness, then you have to give the space and autonomy. High pressure means ideally pressure comes from like okay always sense of urgency, micromanagement, ambiguity. If these things are in a place, it is as good as the toxic. So you have to get rid out of that place and you have to get into some place where autonomy has been given, trust based relationship is there, and sometimes pressure is fine, urgency because of the business, but most of the time there is a plan full, things are steady, and you are able to get the time for you to get bored. And I literally mean it. You have to get bored. Study shows that while we are getting bored, that is the time our mind works towards the innovation in different problem statement and all, and that triggers us the learning. Okay, we don't know this thing, this is the problem, how I can solve it. That's why there is a say that okay in morning latrine time you get the best set of ideas. If you know the Linux kernel, right? Kernel is the core of the Linux operating system, written on the toilet tissue paper by the inventor over there. So while it was there, right, in the morning time he got that idea, he wrote down into a toilet tissue paper, and later on it's been implemented as the kernel. So there is enough evidence of the study that okay while we are free, that time only we can think productively, otherwise it's become the operational task. So there is no point of talking about innovation and all those things.
Understood. And
I
you
know,
all
I know that this is a different opinion or different point of view, but this is how it is.
got it, got it. Totally makes sense. And also, you have mentioned earlier that you have subscribed to a lot of blogs, articles, and then you scan through keywords and understand a bit more about it. In addition to that, what kind of resources or books or any other platforms that you would suggest for young engineers who can accelerate their current career growth?
See, this is a very common question, right? I got from my friends, sometimes from my wife also, and most of the youngsters. So here is the part, right? Different medium works for different person. I am not a book person. From my college days, I was a PPT person, right? I keep on collecting the PPTs those days, and keep on goes through that, right? And those are the days where uh, every single book being formatted as PPT in a presentation mode, and you can easily download and do that thing at a college level. The reason being at that time YouTube was not that famous, data was costly, there was not much edufluencer are there, right? Nowadays everywhere influencers are there, so edufluencers are not there, nobody's talking about courses and all. So that was my source of reading it, right? I was the one who is going to classes, attentively listening it, coming back to hostel and sit for the PPT. I'll go through the PPTs. Today's day, I follow through the blogs sometimes because I'm not a person who can read more. Nowadays, I have automated that I can summarize and quickly listen what the blog says through the generative AI. I do give it to AI to summarize me and tell me what is the gist of it. So that's how, again, that's how I'm utilizing AI. And I'm a fan of YouTube. So whatever the concept I wanted to see, I search on YouTube, not even Google. If I wanted to go in depth, I will go for the long videos. If it is some keyword I wanted to know just what it is, what is the application, I will go for the shorts. As simple as that. So somebody else in the world somewhere put the effort for you. Just utilize it. Now, different people grabs it differently. This is the way I do. Not necessarily that everybody can like this approach. It is up to them that okay, which blogs they wanted to follow, which medium they wanted to study. But this is the way I do.
Got it. And in continuation to previous tech solutions that you have talked about, the most common arising question nowadays is data privacy and security, which is currently growing, at a very rapid pace. How do you ensure that engineering solutions are both cutting edge and compliant with all of these regulatory standards?
You are bound to be very honest, right? So you take any of the B2C, PKI is one of the very common. In OTT, right? GDPR is the common one, right? There are a bunch of compliance being signed up by every single organizations. Now it's a matter of that we need to follow it. So secure software development, which is called SDLC, right? SDLC is the foundation of building it. So unfortunately, that is not a very common practice. We often miss those kind of things, but with iterations, I have seen that okay, most of the organization where compliance been taken very seriously, they have took it the right way. So this is part of the compliance. But apart from that, data security and the privacy is guarded by multiple layers. So one is at the your service provider or the infrastructure layer. You name any of the cloud, it's automatically by default out of the box given those security parameters, right? Starting from IAM, starting from your authentication, OAuth, any for this matter. In fact, basic authentication. So those are the very common normal terms of these security parameters. Now we are into a verge of risk all these security concern, not from the hackers or somebody else, but from our own development. Beyond with AI, there is also parallel track where people are not talking about it much, which is the quantum computing. I have a friend who is the director of one of the quantum company. That is the single company what is working with Indian defense and all. So I'm not going to name it anything. So they are working towards the post quantum preparation. That means once quantum computing becomes successful and been public, every single algorithm we have today to protect our data privacy, those are of no use because quantum can break it within second. Currently the parameter is with the strong password or with the RSA algorithm and all those things, right? Any of the uh, encryption algorithm, it would take 100 years, 10 years to break with the brute force method. Quantum can break all those combination within seconds. So there is no point. Basically, we are into a place in front of quantum. There is no shield of data privacy or any of the post quantum. What kind of algorithm we should build from now that okay, even it is going to give us the protection from the quantum computing. People are already working on it. It is just that it is not so popular like AI concept, right? But it's another field where we should talk about, where we should express our interest and the preparation towards it.
Got it. Got it. And also, an interesting question from my side. I mean, you can obviously answer. So, what kind of project that you resonate much with you because you have worked in a lot of big organizations previously. What's your most favorite or the best project that you've been so far and you resonate with?
So there is nothing called best and worst, but I always enjoyed those projects where I can actually showcase or tell to the common people, right? I will tell you a few of the example, right? So while I was in Samsung, right, and I worked in network division, and those network protocols developed for corporate printers and for the intelligent printers. Now, when I back to my college or my native places, right? So people often come to me and give their phone. Most of them are using Samsung phone. Okay, this is the problem in phone. Can you fix it and all, right? The typical way. I don't know. I'm not a mobile engineer or I'm not a hardware engineer. Then what you do? Then I told this is the printer. I'm doing it, like all those things, right? So that's very interesting that okay, you can tell and you can show that what you are doing actually. So those things makes me more interesting. So while I was in Amazon, right, I developed few of the feature, that entire product detail page, what you can see nowadays, the advertisement banner, right, then the product description, where you can see the specification of it, then the some of the product has in the 360-degree of the view. So these are the feature I developed. So I was being very enthusiastic and very proactive to go to my friends and tell, these are the feature I modified and developed, not that fully developed, but these are the portion I developed, these are the feature I worked upon. So that makes me more enthusiastic. I'm not going to the complexity of it or the scale of it. This is what it is now. In fact, last week, I sorry, not the last week, this week I've been into 2 days back, two to 3 days back, I've been into MongoDB conference. You must have seen some post from my side. So the opening pitch what I have given, that okay, I played some tune from KBC, from Shark Tank, and I asked, there was more than 2000 people in the room, raise your hand, right, if you cannot understand or if you don't understand one of the tone, any one of the tone. And nobody raised hand. Then I started, you all are my customer, you already know what we are doing. So the moment I can show my product, the moment I can tell a common person that okay, this is what you are using, built by me or built by my organization, that exciting me more, rather than talking about some fancy thing we are doing but nobody knows about it. This is my personal trait, and that's how, like, there are a few projects which is very close to my heart.
And we have a question from Likit on the chat box. He's saying, I'm curious to see what would you have thoughts on embedding AI into games? For example, a fictional game which creates characters with moves which are developed by AI by players' prompts. It will be a tedious project, but I think it will eventually create a big impact. He wants to understand your thoughts on the same.
Sure. This is not a new thing, a new thinking anymore. Who was that question? Reminder.
Likit.
Like, so this is not a new thing, right, anymore. We already have the avatar. I forgot the name of such companies, right? There are list of companies nowadays. They are in business of selling the avatars. Now those avatars currently into AR and VR systems. Few of the avatars being used in different set of websites and all, right? And also gaming. Now it's all about that. Okay, take the avatar and use it in your game, right? And it's more of an integration with the AI into the game, that within the game itself you can prompt and generate the avatar, and those avatars are doing based on the characteristic what you have defined. So I would not say it's a future, it's already present, right? It's a matter of refinement for the mass productionizations.
And again, it's the same another question from Likit only. Do you think being a generalist better or a specialist in terms of being an employee?
Okay, both are needed. With AI in another decade, I'm not talking about tomorrow or in 1 year or 2 year, right? We need more generalist, because what AI is going to serve you. So I'm talking from the landscape of AI, right? Think that okay, AI being matured after 10 years, that is going to happen. What we need and what we don't need. So with an AI, take an AI is like a person who knows anything and everything of the world. So you can ask it, it will do it for you. Now to interact with that, we need a person who understands many things in a tech space, right? So we need more generalist who can ask the AI the right set of things and what AI is giving to validate at a high level and do the things. But at the same point in time, we need a group of specialists also, right? Because take any technology today also, right? There would always be a problem. There is always be a deep knowledge or deep understanding is needed. So we need specialists also to solve those problems. And it's a contradictory requirement. A person cannot be specialist as well as the generalist. So both the opportunities are there. It's based on the interest and how path is coming across. Based on that, people will land their own stuff.
Got it. I don't see any more questions in the chat, but again, there's a common question always popping up when it comes to the AI space. That is jobs and internships. Since you have been in the leadership roles and recruited a lot of people so far in all of these organizations, what do you generally look for a candidate while hiring, especially if he or she is a young engineer transitioning into the roles of AI?
So, okay, let me ask you a question. Do you, and you can ask your audience also to prompt what they wanted to listen, that whether they are looking for that, okay, they are a graduate, they passed out of being a graduate and then comes look for a job, or what is the interest that, okay, I am, being trained on AI and they are coming for the job. So what is the landscape?
It is, as per the trend, people who are already experienced, like with 1 to 2 years of experience in different set of development or be it an analyst role, who want to transition into the AI space post our data engineering or AI programs.
Okay.
That is how candidates are looking for.
Okay, so here is the point, right? We have to understand two things. One is the niche, another is the mass. You being into the trained AI developer. Now there is nothing called AI developer. It's always the ML and data science, right? Which is the applied to the AI level. So being the niche of it towards the AI, this is the niche, and there are companies who is hiring for it. Scale is low towards it, but while you get into it, the kind of demand or the reward is high. So if you are going towards it, there would be some challenges in terms of number of opportunities, but the reward is higher side. On the contradictory side, if you go for the mass, right, being into that, okay, you are in generalist, you have a data science, data engineer, right, and you are open and bit flexible. So opportunities would open more in quantity, right? And it depends that, okay, after you took up that, if you go towards the niche skill, that way that it's up to you how do you manage towards your reward. So it's like the two different polar altogether, but both has their own pros and cons.
Got it. Got it. I think there's nothing else from the audience side as well, as far as I can see. I think we can good to wrap up the session for this evening. Thank you so much, Suman, again for taking your time out for joining this webinar and also for the audience who have joined today. A very good evening to all of you and a very great weekend ahead. So thank you so much. Thanks, everyone. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.